Hi everybody and welcome to week 3 of EDE 201. We are getting started on the semester and this is a video to get you started on the week 3 module. So the first thing I want to talk about is Twitter. I'm going to start every video with giving a little Twitter update, I think. We have everybody officially signed up for Twitter. Make sure that all of you follow me at Annie Whitlock. And also make sure you all follow your classmates. I know it might be tricky to know who is in our class since we don't meet face-to-face. So you can go back to the week 1 module, pull up our discussion board where everybody introduced themselves, and search for people there. They should have left their Twitter handle, and then you can find them and follow them. You can also click on me and click on my followers or who I'm following, and you can click people from the class. Most of everybody there has got something about U of M Flint in their bio, so you should be able to find our classmates pretty easily. Even if you found one classmate, you can usually go through the trail and find the others as well, especially if they're following other people too. But the other Twitter challenge for you this week, even if you did not choose the Twitter assignment, is to follow some other resources besides just the people in our class and just me. I highly suggest there are really good Twitter accounts out there that are devoted to women's issues and news about women and some of the topics in our course. I just recently, like just a few minutes ago, tweeted out a bunch of resources, including the Twitter account for our book, Half the Sky, and the book's authors, as well as a really great resource about a Twitter account that gives inspirational stories and news about sex trafficking as well. So if you find me, you'll make sure I can tweet out some resources periodically, but it's great to do a search. You might find some that I've never even heard of either. So I would love if you find a good one to pass it on and retweet it out to everybody else. Make sure that when you do tweet, whether it's for the assignment or not, either way, that you include our class hashtag in the tweet, hashtag EDE201. That lets me find it within the conversation. And if you want to follow the conversation, if you see in anybody's tweets, like mine or your classmates that say hashtag EDE201, you can click on it and it'll take you right to the whole conversation. Or you can type that hashtag in the search and it'll take you right there too. So I know Twitter can be a bit confusing, especially if you're a newbie, so feel free to email me, or like I said, you can always meet with me in person and we can talk about Twitter tricks. So make sure you pass on anything great that you find. I'm really looking forward to seeing whatever you can find. So the topic for this week on the syllabus is called Dehumanization of Women. And so I chose this particular title on purpose because we're still focusing on sex trafficking and sexual slavery. And we're going to eventually get into the much broader topic of gender violence. Sex trafficking is a form of gender violence, of course. But all of that sort of even falls under a larger umbrella called dehumanization of women. So I want you to think about this word, dehumanization or dehumanizing, as you work through the module this week. Literally, dehumanization means to make something less than human or to degrade people that are human, right, and treat them like they are not. So I want you to think about these questions. So I want you to think about how does the dehumanization of women lead to things like sex trafficking? Maybe others' beliefs about women's role in society. How does that lead to things like sex trafficking? And how does trafficking make women less than human? So think about these two things. So we're really going to keep talking about trafficking this week, but I wanted you to think about this larger word. We're going to think about this a lot with every course topic that we go through, and it could be a possible topic for you to write about if you chose a discussion post, that assignment, or discussion comments. You might want to think you can write about that word and what you thought about it as you read through the Half the Sky chapter this week and move through the rest of the module. So that brings me to what do we have to do this week? The first thing I'd like you to do is take some time to read Half the Sky, Chapter 2. This chapter focuses on attempts that other people have made to stop trafficking. So you're going to read some stories, but you're also going to read about people that are attempting to make a difference in this arena. But some of these attempts have been successful and some of them have not been very successful. You're going to read about attempts made from government organizations, policymakers, people from within communities where this is happening, even the authors of our textbook. But again, they don't always work. So I want you to keep that in mind too. Think about why some of the solutions that you read about may have worked or may not have worked. Think about why that could be the case. It's a long chapter, so I wanted to warn you up front, set aside a decent amount of time to read it. It's long because it tells really detailed stories of two women in particular. These were women that one of the authors, Nick Kristof, actually went to visit in a brothel and attempted to rescue them by buying their freedom. So not to spoil the chapter for you, but he does buy their freedom, but their story doesn't end there, which is kind of the point of this module. It's that was one of his solutions. Like, he could pay for the freedom of these two women, but he finds that it's not quite as simple as that. I think you'll be really captivated by these stories, but it is a long chapter, and I want you to think about leaving yourself some time to read it and really process that whole piece of it, right? And then along those same lines are the videos that are on our week 3 module. So once you've read Half the Sky, once you've read chapter 2, I'd like you to go into the week 3 module, and there are going to be 2 short clips in there in the week 3 module. They're no more than 2 minutes long. One is just more info on trafficking from Half the Sky. It's a Half the Sky sponsored clip. So I mentioned in my last video that there is a PBS documentary about Half the Sky that I'm not able to rip and put on our Blackboard site, but the website, Half the Sky, does give a lot of video resources. So periodically I'll be posting those to our Blackboard site because those are free and accessible to the public. So this is the first one, which is just short information about human trafficking. It's nice because it might not be information that you don't already know, except it's kind of nice to put a face to the name of our authors because their voices are so prevalent in this book. It's all about their travels and their experiences and their opinions that it's kind of nice to be able to see them. So they appear in this video as well. The other clip is one of a Cambodian woman named Somali Mom. Somali was trafficked herself in Cambodia. She escaped that life, and now she devotes her life to working to save others. But it's really interesting. Her clip is, about a minute long. It's not very long. But she makes a really, really good point that simply removing a girl from a brothel, like our author attempts to do in the chapter you're going to read, is not enough. That you need to help find these women a life afterwards. You need to empower them to do something with their lives. So you're going to read, you read last week, and you're going to read this week about, why these women go, are prone to be trafficked in the first place, right? That they maybe are not economically empowered. They go seeking a better opportunity, and they get run into this trafficking ring, right? So Somali makes a good point that when you rescue a woman from one of these brothels, you need to give her that life. You need to find something else that she can do to make a living, and find another way that she can be a contributor to society. Often these women in some of these cultures, as you're going to read in this coming chapter, are afraid to go back home after they might escape a trafficking situation or leave a brothel, because they're afraid they're going to be judged or ostracized from their entire community for being raped or being trafficked, essentially. So this is really important. So Somali works very hard to know that it's not just enough to remove these women from the brothels. You have to give them something else. So watch her clip. Again, it's only a minute, but you get to see her face and see kind of a powerful woman she is. But then there's another link on our week 3 module to Somali's website. And I want you to click on that, and similarly to what I had you do with the Half the Sky website, I want you to just browse around her website. Read a little bit more about her. There are other videos on her site, which you're welcome to watch if you've got the time. I think they're kind of nice. Again, when you click on any of these videos, they're usually on YouTube. They go directly to YouTube, and then on the side of YouTube there are a ton of other related videos, so you can easily go down a YouTube rabbit hole, I like to call it, or a wormhole. So if you've got the time, those can be really, really beneficial, and you can learn a lot that just goes beyond what I could even provide for you in this class. But if you don't have the time, be careful clicking on all those videos. But I want you to click on her website, though, and I want you to browse around and look at what she believes and what she talks about and how she is empowering women that have been trafficking victims. Especially, I would like you to click on the shop link. So usually I don't, I'm not a really big online shopper. You might be hesitant to go to essentially what amounts to a gift shop on a website. But this is one way that Somali empowers victims of trafficking. She actually helps these women find jobs, either starting their own businesses or working to create things like hand-woven scarves or jewelry, that then she helps them sell these things on her website. So instead of being very dubious about buying something online, you might actually want to consider purchasing something, because any of these things that she's selling on her website are made by women who have been trafficked and are now trying to make a better life for themselves. And proceeds go to her foundation that helps to save other women. I'm gonna try to find some more Somali Mom clips for you. She's quite a powerful woman, helping these women educate other women that are currently in the process of trying to get out of their trafficked situation or helping other women. So she teaches a few who teach a few, and it spreads and so on and so on. So she's a really great person to get to know. So I want you to watch a short clip of her and browse around on her website. And then the last thing for this week's module is to read a short article about social exclusion and gender. This is another one of those stats articles that I think are really important to sort of see some of the numbers behind some of the things we talk about. And this one includes statistics, though, on school attendance for what we call socially excluded groups, people who are traditionally in the margins of society. This might seem unrelated to this week's topic, so you might be thinking, why are we reading about school attendance and talking about sex trafficking? Like, what does school and sex trafficking have to do with each other? But that's actually the question that I want you to think about. What do they have to do with each other? How could socially excluded groups that are talked about in this article be targets for trafficking? Why do you think they might be targets? I want you to think about that as you're reading. They'll describe what that means. The article will describe what they mean by a socially excluded group. And then I want you to think about how could increasing school attendance be a solution to trafficking. So this is going to be another larger theme of the course. The course is called Women, Globalization, and Education. So far we've done, this is our second full module with readings and everything, and we've learned a lot about women's issues and cultures. We've learned a lot about this global topic of sex trafficking, and now I want to start introducing the piece about education. I truly believe that education is a big solution to a lot of these problems that can be done, especially by some of us, especially those of us that are going into education, but not just those of us that are future teachers either. But I want you to think about that. So how can increasing school attendance help sex trafficking, help keep people from being trafficked? And then think about that. We're going to think about that with every topic. How could increasing school attendance or educating others help with this? And so to give you a little preview to week 4, when you have to see me again in another week, we're going to actually start getting into talking about people that have come up with creative solutions. So this week you're going to find that there have been solutions. People have talked about putting in policies in place and laws in place to eradicate sex trafficking, but you're going to see that it's not quite as simple as you might think it would be. So next week we'll talk about people that have had to come up with something a little bit different and a little bit creative to make that work. So hopefully you learn a lot from this module. Remember, as always, that if you have chosen the discussion post assignment or the discussion comment assignment, that all of those things have to be completed by the Sunday at the end of each module. So this is week 3, so if you've decided to make a discussion post about the reading or a comment, you must do that by Sunday night, January 26th, 11:59 p.m. If you have chosen the reading reflection assignment and you've chosen to write one, you have 5 to do this semester. If you've chosen to do one this particular week, then that also has to be submitted by Sunday night, 11:59 p.m. There is the discussion board is in the week 3 module. It'll always be within each week that we do things, and the reading reflections Dropbox will also be within each individual week that you decide to submit it. All right, so everything will always have to be due by Sunday night. This will open on Monday, sometimes earlier, and then the following Sunday will be when things are due. But also tweet a lot all week. You can do that at any time and get the conversation going. Respond to others. Once you follow to your classmates and they say something interesting or you want to contribute, get the conversation started. There have already been great conversations that have gotten going about our topic last week, and so I really, really look forward to seeing that. I'm going to try to respond to others as well and join in the conversation when I can. So make sure, we'll also have a checklist posted for week 3 so that you can print it out if you need to and kind of just tick off the boxes and see what you need to get done. But other than that, have a fabulous week, and make sure that you contact me, email me, tweet at me if you need anything. So have a wonderful week.